to look at. All right, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay, so cool. So first thing, I guess, consent agenda here. We need to accept the meeting minutes from the December meeting. Is everybody taking a look at those? Anybody have comments on those?
And move, we accept them.
Okay, do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
No opposed. Meetings minutes are accepted. Agenda changes. That's just anybody wants to add something to the agenda, correct? Or delete something from the agenda that we've got proposed here.
Mhm.
So does anybody have any changes? Here you
Chris?
go. Yep.
This is Jim. Is here tonight?
I'm sorry, say that again, Jim.
Is Reed Dills here tonight?
Reed, I believe, is not here. I'm not expecting Reed. Are we gonna see Reed, Karen?
Okay, well, I'll just go ahead and report on the bull moose for a few minutes then.
Okay, well, we've got the report that that everybody got. So typically what we do if we've got a report in advance like this is we'll everybody's hopefully read through it, and then if we have any questions, we can field questions. So if you've got some stuff, we basically I think, Karen, did you send that out?
Karen did, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we've got the Barb Sheetlow's report from the CTU, which is so if we have anybody that has questions, we can field those, but otherwise we'll swing by. But if you're ready to field questions, that would be great.
So I'm not on there right now. See the trees up at the top?
Yeah,
That's me, but I have to just raise the,
well, I'm trying to find your speaker for you.
that's,
Hey, Mike, can
Here's
you
your
mute
speaker.
real quick? Okay, does anybody have any
Well, I don't
remarks?
know for sure
oh,
what
you
that
were
is.
asking me. I don't know. That's,
Yeah,
I
I
thought
don't-
we had it already done.
Okay. So no remarks from anybody, so we'll move on to item 3 here, upcoming meetings and events. As shown here, we're going to have continuing tying socials at Next Steady and Upriver for the foreseeable futures through the
Go ahead. This thing.
winter.
well, I
Hey,
don't
Mike,
know what that's to.
Mike, are you there?
Oh, yeah. Okay, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess we haven't hooked your speakers up. That were speakers, but you do have a speaker on your,
Yeah, right here.
Hey, can everybody mute?
well,
That's not
yeah, but I gotta
not
find
presenting
it
right
on the
now.
screen.
All right, so we'll do our best. So anyway, fly tying socials will be
Because I can bring it
Next
back
Steady
up.
Hey,
and
Chris,
Upriver.
on
Yeah,
my-
Chris, I don't think they can hear you.
no, I don't think so.
Mike, you need to
my
mute.
internet. And these are plugged in.
Well, I want to find your speaker on the whole thing. So I don't know where to find it.
Send him a chat, see if he sees it.
So why'd you take this stuff off?
No, if you raise that, I'm on the screen.
Oh, okay,
They can see me.
okay.
If I push it down, all they see is this.
Somebody have his phone number?
Yeah, somebody needs to
Okay,
call
can you
him.
close it? And then let me find the
I send him a
speaker.
chat
the
note right down, you'll
sound.
see that.
Just put leave.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows the chat.
Yeah. I
And you
believe.
could get back to it. So how do you get back to your regular
It says
screen?
leave meeting.
Let me see if I can mute him here. Looks like he's logged off, so
Okay, well then we'll move on.
let's continue.
So tying socials at Next Steady and Upriver every other week. Tuesday at Next Steady and Thursday at Upriver. So those are going to go on through the winter, as far as I know. They're both kind of indefinite right now. Dave is going to be doing a fly tying 101 class at Trace Litros. That's going to be at the end of the month. I believe it's going to be on the 28th. So we I don't see Dave here yet, but I'll check in with him on that. My only curiosity there is, are we going to have too much response and have more people show up than we have supplies and stuff for? And but I'll talk with Dave about that, about potentially using a Colorado Trout Unlimited has a free, there's Dave. How you doing?
Hey, Chris.
Hey, I didn't see when you jumped in there. We're just going through, we're on item number 3 on the agenda here. I was just talking real quick about the 101 class.
Yeah, on the
There,
28th.
if you want to jump in there, you're welcome to.
I believe Brian has drawn up, or was going to drop some flyers for that and put that around town as, sort of a marketing approach. And I was going to ask, we would share that with Colin at Next Steady, and he could put that, on his on Instagram and some social media. I don't know a good way of trying to limit how many people. We could ask for people to sign up ahead of time. But I don't know of like a easy technology way, online way of doing that.
CPU has an Event Groove account that we can use for free. So we could potentially do that just as it's a ticketing platform, and we just make it a no charge ticket, but they could RSVP in that way potentially. And so that's one way we could do it, and then assume that we'll have some walk-ins anyway and have some extra vices materials ready available for people who hadn't signed up. But yeah, that's my only thought about that, is if we have 40 people show up or something, what do we do?
Right.
Well,
I can follow up with you
Yeah.
Either tonight or tomorrow about
Okay.
that and try to get that set up this week.
Okay.
Chris and Dave,
Yeah.
in the shed, we have the Stream Explorers, vices and tying kits that, if they're not being used for Stream Explorers, are available. The vices are very simple. They have both a clip and a lead base. They don't swivel or anything, but for Fly Tying 101, that would enable you to add about a dozen vices if you needed them.
Yeah, we actually have 18. I went down there with Brian a while back and kind of inventoried what we had there. And so Upriver had planned to do a class, a tying class series, but they've now decided that they aren't going to do that. I just found that out last week. So they've got 10 of our vices and tying kits and some of our materials from the shed. So I'm going to go down and talk with them and get back. They're still having like a vice or two out for their tying socials for new flyer tires that come in, but they don't need all of those. So we can, I'll go back and pick up that stuff. So we'll have that available for the Trace Litros tying class.
Yeah, please do. I have trouble getting the Stream Explorers kids to get everything back to me intact.
Yeah,
Make sure
no,
you
I've
get
got we took a good inventory before we sent them off, and everything is in my garage that's not at Upriver. And I know what they had initially. So yeah, we're being careful about it. So then Brian had sent out a thing about some other adult activities stuff. The other thing was, sorry, is there anything more you wanted to say about the 101 class, Brian, Dave?
I don't think so. We've come up with, 3 flies that we're going to tie. We've got the material list for that. We'll, first check what we have in stock in the shed or in your garage, and just I guess we'll need a estimate for additional, cost for additional materials But I think we've already set that aside with a budget, so maybe we don't need to submit that to the board.
We're good there. We've got that money there.
So
reallocate if we need it.
I'm sorry, I had some technological difficulties at the beginning. Were there any changes or did we accept the minutes or? Anything?
Yes, yeah, the minutes were accepted, no changes. We're now talking, Dave was telling us about the.
Yeah, I
tying
got
in
all
one
that. I
class.
got that.
Okay,
I'm,
okay,
I'm there
very
now.
cool.
Thank you.
Good. So then, Euro nymphing class I had on here, there was some other stuff that Brian had on his list that were kind of in the works. Is there anything there you want to share with us, Dave, or is this still in the works?
Yeah, I've been working on a curriculum for that. I think I'm almost done with that curriculum. I mean, just keep it pretty simple for the class. I'm not sure how to separate it in terms of, say classroom portion and then on the water. If it's say in the spring or early summer, obviously before runoff, the weather can be questionable in terms of sitting around talking, for an extended period of time. So may look into locations for that and try to keep it.
So Dave, you might check the Salida Library because it
Yeah,
would
I
be close to the
yeah.
park too.
Yeah, Karen, that's a great idea. Thank you. And so I can try to finalize that, share that with the with Brian at the adult activity or education committee and move forward with that.
Sounds good. Okay, so then let's see, the IF4 Film Festival. You guys are all aware of that. That's going to be April 13th at the Ivy Ballroom. And let's see here, sorry. We're going down. I'm going to meet up with Michael and Andrew from Upriver with the people at the Ivy Ballroom on I think it's the 16th, to go through the space and talk about what we're going to need to do as far as setup and breakdown and how that works and how many volunteers we'll need for that and whatever. But that is one thing, we are going to need volunteers to do setup and breakdown, and also to work the door and check people in and work the raffle. So if you're willing and able, we would be grateful if anybody can volunteer. So keep that in mind. But obviously, if you don't want to volunteer and you just want to go to the fest, that's great too. As far as the raffle goes, we talked with Jerry about it last week about how we're going to work it, and working with Whitney Huddleston, who's the development person at CTU, about using their platform to run the raffle, which should be less painful or more painless than what we were doing last time, I guess, that Tom had set up. So we're working on that, so that should be pretty seamless. Michael at Upriver is working his contacts with their vendors to get items for the raffle. So that's all in progress and moving along well. So yeah, we'll keep you all posted.
Chris, I would add
go
that Jerry has pulled the raffle license.
Yep.
So we're good there.
Yep, we're good there. I think we're going to do everything in person. We're going to do, I think we haven't really decided yet. We're going to do kind of a grand prize raffle for the Upriver float trip, which would be kind of its own raffle all on its own. That's a value of like $500. And then we'll do a bucket raffle with other items. That'll be a separate thing, but that should be less than $1,000 worth of total value. So that'll simplify our reporting to the state if we break it up like that. So that's kind of my thinking right now anyway. But as that gets closer, we'll work on that as a fundraising committee and get that dialed in and get everything approved so we can do that. So any questions there? not, then we'll move on to new business. So first item here is the scholarship criteria revamp. Let me share here if I can find it. Give me a second here to grab that new I have to download that new document that Dave shared earlier this evening.
So that, I mean, the committee was in agreement with the comments or the edits that Gene had made to that announcement or whatever you want to call that. So Gene, thank you for your help with that. I the only time I've been on this committee, we haven't had an applicant, so I am not very familiar with the entire process, honestly. And I've just been kind of acting, it feels like middleman between questions you guys have and then for the committee. They seem to be very comfortable, or I don't know what, they want to stick with that, up to $2,500. If there's more students, or more applicants, I think they're assuming they would either ask for more money or potentially give out less money per applicant that was accepted. That's all I'm getting from them. So I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else. And the only other comment I think from Gene's edits was asking about the difference between, I guess, this scholarship announcement and specifically the Fred Rasmussen. And I don't have a good answer for that. To me, it seems like this is the qualifications seem to be the same. So if we were only going to, I'm just speaking for myself here, if we're only going to award, say, one scholarship, it probably would make sense to name it, or have it be the Fred Rasmussen. But again, I'm not the most familiar with all of this. I know it would be nice to try to get this approved soon so we can start contacting the various schools in the state and in the region and try to
It's just gotten
advertise this
enlarged.
more.
I don't know how to get that back down.
Martha, you need to mute Michael while you're fixing it. I move that we accept the changes in the scholarship policy.
We do that. I have one question. So this is saying up to $2,500 is available each semester. And are we saying that we're going to have $25 or $2,500 total to be divided amongst whoever we have as applicants? So we'll have a total potential yearly budget of $5,000 for this, or is this up to, because I remember thinking that it was going to be $2,500 per student, up to $2,500 per student. And this to me reads like $2,500 is the total pot.
Sure. I think since there hasn't been an applicant in at least a couple of years, I think the committee felt like increasing it to 25 or having $2,500 available, which could be for just one student if there's only one acceptable applicant. And then if there are more applicants, it would either be dividing that into two or potentially asking for more money from the board for multiple applicants. Does that make
Well,
sense?
how much did we budget for scholarships? I thought there was enough for two.
Chris, could you go back to that screen and scroll down so we can read?
In the past,
the-
we've given up to $12,000 in the budget. And my understanding, Pam, you would know this better, is if we had up to $2,500 per student for up to 2 students. per semester.
I would agree with that, Karen. Right now, there's $5,000 in the budget for scholarships. So at $2,500 a semester per student, that would be 2 students. Now, keep in mind, we're going into a new budget year. And so I'm seeing that this application is for fall semester 2023. So I'm assuming the budget committee will ask for at a minimum $5,000, but that'll come out in our budget, our new budget. My only other comment on this, and I've read it pretty quickly, one of the things that came up earlier was, would we allow a board member's student to apply for a scholarship? I didn't see anything in here that excluded that.
And we have not had that. We have had board members, at least chapter members, children get that scholarship in the past.
Well, chapter members, there's no question about that. And I'm not opposed to board members' kids getting it. It hasn't been an issue, and if they're qualified, I'm fine with that part.
Yeah.
I guess my sticking issue is I don't see the difference between the Fred Rasmussen scholarship and a regular one as far as qualifications. So any applicant could say, well, I want to go for the Rasmussen scholarship.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my question or response, or I don't know what it is, comment would just be, it seems to be just a difference in name. You know, like what, it's sort of just semantics.
And you know, you're right, Dave, but the issue is going to be, if you're going to make a poster for this, it is going to be very confusing to have 2 different scholarships on there. So I guess I'm going to withdraw my motion and say that scholarship committee, when Barbara gets back, and those people need to clarify that. And I would like to see, and maybe we take a vote on this, to just make it all one scholarship, or we make it the Fred Rasmussen scholarships.
Have more than
Uh,
one award of a Fred Rasmussen scholarship, I think.
What's that?
I think I don't think it's a problem in having more than one award of Fred Rasmussen scholarships. If we make this the Fred Rasmussen Memorial Scholarship, period, we can award 2 or 3 or 10 of them if we want. As opposed to only one. I don't think there's any problem with it being just naming it that.
The only
Hey.
problem is that one statement, the preferences is for Fred's for biology and ecology, which means environmental engineering or natural resources. I don't know. But I agree with Dave that I think there needs to be more clarity.
I'll make a suggestion, Chris. I just suggest, without reading what the edits are, I see what you have on the screen here, but is what you have on the screen what's recommended, Dave?
Sorry, I'm only seeing all
Okay.
the windows of,
Okay.
sorry, hold on. let me-
Okay.
Oh, here we go. I'm
I'll-
seeing
I'll
all our
just re-
spaces and not the,
This is the one that you shared earlier this evening, Dave.
right, yeah.
So yeah,
Well, I'll just make the suggestion that we do rename it the Fred Rasmussen Memorial Scholarship Fund, and then keep the $5,000 that we've budgeted and up to 2,500 with a maximum of 2 scholarship winners. So that's my suggestion to move it along.
that would be 5,000 per semester potentially and 10,000 per year potentially.
No, leave it in there as 5,000 that we have budgeted, but up to 2,500 per winner of the scholarship with a maximum of 2 persons to get the scholarship.
Right. So if we did have 2 winners, so you're saying $5,000 per year but it gets split amongst two people
If-
potentially.
If,
Okay.
if we have two applicants, it'd be a maximum of 2,500 per person. And then as Pam was saying earlier, if we want to change that in the next budget process, we can do that. But for now, I'd suggest we do that to move it along, and maybe that would take care of Gene's and Dave's comments too, and Karen's.
Well, I think when the Rasmussen Scholarship came along, that was supposed to be something special. And we shouldn't just go calling all of them the Fred Rasmussen Scholarship. And if we budget so much for scholarships, then we can say, okay, we budgeted $10,000, that's $2,500 per person per semester. So.
Well, Gene, what I'm suggesting does make it a very special scholarship fund in Fred's memory, and I don't see anything wrong with lumping it all under his name.
Mhm.
Obviously, we're trying to to get more interest in this, but again, we haven't had anybody show any interest in a couple of years. So I'd be surprised if, we're inundated with 30 applicants this spring. So
We need to be prepared if we are. So we need to have a plan in place in terms of how we're going to divide up a limited amount of funds amongst a potentially larger number of people. Hopefully,
Well, I don't think we should divide up the funds. I think when we advertise, we should say we're advertising for $2,500 a semester. And if you get it, that's what you're gonna get, not
Right.
divide it up
Right.
10 ways. That doesn't make any sense at all. I've never been on a scholarship committee that worked like that before.
Whether we
You
have
can have
5
a
or
set
10
number
or
of scholarships,
yeah.
so
and not everybody gets one.
that's
Okay.
why the committee added the up to $2,500 was
Right.
so that it could be, the award amount could be decreased. I haven't seen that before either, but that was the reasoning I think behind that wording.
Okay.
Was
Well,
to
if
add
we
that
get 5 or
flexibility.
10 applicants, then we can have that discussion.
That's not likely.
You know, I'd like to say a couple of things. I get the Mountain Mail and the Chaffey County Times, and both of those always have ads for scholarship applications. Do we do that? Do we advertise our scholarships in
Yes.
local papers? We do? Well, good. The other thing is, we're talking about budgeted money. And if you look at our bank accounts, we have a good net worth. We have a lot of money in the account, but we've been running at a deficit for a couple of years. So when you talk about, anywhere from $2,500 to $12,000, you got to keep in mind that money has to be income before it can be scholarship. And I think we've got good ideas for this year, but we haven't been taking in the money, that we need to fund a full scholarship.
I have a
Is that-
question for Pam. Was there a specific amount of money left to the chapter for the Fred Rasmussen scholarships? I don't recall that.
No, there was not. In fact, the Fred Rasmussen Scholarship came about as a special effort in that particular year that Fred died, to raise additional, to make his scholarship $2,500. That was a level that was originally set. Now, subsequently, we've not had any applicants to say, all right, you're going to get the Fred Scholarship, be recognized for that. But we have seen scholarships in the amount of $1,000, $1,500. So it's not always automatically 2,500, and that's, I think, what they're saying here. I would suggest that the committee revisit it, let us know what their budgeted amount is, ask for 5,000, ask for 10,000. If that's the approved amount, that's the bucket they have to work within, and they can fund as many scholarships as they want until those funds are used up. I did notice in here, I think the first test of this policy will be August 1st, 2023. So we'll know how many applicants we have or not. And it's the committee's responsibility to vet the applicants and then come back to the board and say, these are the scholarships we would like to award. One perhaps being Fred's scholarship money.
I agree, but I think we should table this and send it back to the committee, and we need to get the clarification about one's a regular scholarship, one's a Fred Rasmussen, or we just name them all, because when you go to market this and put a poster up, it cannot be two separate things, I don't think. So I move we table this and send it back to committee.
I second that motion.
I'm fine with that. I've had some mixed results so far, trying to get more information or clarification from the committee. So I guess I would just like to have a very clear set of questions for them. So basically, the board wants a clear budgeted or amount for the budget for this scholarship, correct? So it's not, we're not going to say if we got multiple applicants, we'd ask for more money. The committee needs to come up with a set number that then the board agrees to or not. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, and what, are we gonna just name them all?
Okay.
Fred Rasmussen scholarships.
Sure, okay.
Mr. Chair, I guess there's a motion. I recommend we vote. Yes.
So the motion is to send this back to the committee with the questions that Dave just outlined. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
I'll second it too.
Okay.
It was seconded.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do that. One other thing, and I don't think this is necessary for what we're talking about here, but I am concerned at the sort of lack of qualification criteria for the scholarship, just in the sense that there's nothing in here about like a minimum GPA, things like that. And I understand that they, again, want to keep it flexible, but I get concerned about if we have somebody who the committee thinks is not qualified, but there isn't a predefined set of qualifications that candidate doesn't meet, then we could get in trouble if they deny somebody. Does that make sense? Am I explaining my concern here well?
We
You
are
should
asking
have
for
some
the-
minimum qualifications.
Right, because the ones that are in here is basically 1 year and a Colorado resident. So if we have somebody with a 0.5 GPA apply or something, or whatever it might be, I think that we need a little more defined set of minimum criteria that, so again, if they decide they are going to deny somebody who applies, the reasons why they're denied have already been defined, as opposed to trying to do it after the fact and then we get in trouble with people.
Well, Chris,
I think under the application for materials, the third bullet item could just be expanded. Copy of all college transcripts indicating a minimum of 2.0 GPA or something like that. If you want to raise it.
I think we need,
You're asking for the evidence, just give them the criteria.
yeah, so I'd like to see the committee define that. Again, I don't think it's necessary for passing this, but I'd like to see it happen. So
Sure,
Jim,
I can-
you had a comment, Jim?
well, having applied for grants and scholarships in my life too, I don't think it's changed a whole lot, but it's not like we're applying for a scholarship to university here. We, it's, I don't think we're gonna be getting in trouble for anything. We just say, you weren't awarded the scholarship, period. I mean, we don't have to tell somebody why they weren't awarded. But I think it helps to have maybe another minimum, but I wouldn't get too carried away with it.
I put that in the notes and the scholarship committee can deal with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Chris, why don't you work with the scholarship committee to work all this out?
Sounds good.
We need to move on if you're
Yeah,
gonna
we
get done
do.
in an hour.
Definitely. So I knew that was going to be the longest one, but so the next one, I just wanted to make a note. If you guys could, committee chairs, make an effort to go to that Google Calendar and fill out any deadlines that apply to things that are happening with your committee. And also if any committee reports from committee meetings, if you could put those up on the Google Drive as well. So they're, again, all in one place for people to find. So then also, so that's item B. Item C, programs for the upcoming meetings. That's there for you guys to look at. We're set for the year as far as programming goes. We do need to still find spaces to have the May, September, and November ones, but we'll work on that in the committee again to get that worked out here in the near future.
Chris,
Yeah.
I did go to the Stardust. Did you go there and
I've
look
been
at
there,
it? It
yeah.
would be
Yeah.
fine for a presentation. They have all the techno stuff and screen and everything and plenty of seats. $25 an hour for nonprofits. We just have to give them
That's a deal.
a month
It's a
notice.
beautiful place.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. So let's get it worked out. So then, so item D, ideas for chapter activities. This is a holdover from the December meeting when I'd asked people to kind of brainstorm and come up with things. That being said, I think that we have enough items after doing the committee meetings with the adult activities, special events, everything. I think we've got enough stuff on the calendar for now to keep us all as busy as we need to be. And so if anybody has anything that they came up with that you really want to see happen this year, then I'm happy to entertain it. But we could also take those ideas, send those on to the committee chairs for adult activities or special events or whoever it might be, and we can look at adding that stuff to the agenda for next year. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yeah.
Go, Jim.
Well, Chris, in addition to that, I'd like to suggest that we make an emphasis through our e-newsletter to involve our membership in participating as volunteers with these activities, not just ask the board to be the participants, and really put an emphasis on getting our members active in these events also.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we've got good events coming up. We've got some stuff we'll talk about a little bit here soon about some projects that are coming up we'll definitely be needing volunteers for trail work and fence ladders, things like that. That definitely seems to bring people in. So yeah, I definitely want to keep people besides the board involved. So Karen, did you have something?
Is Pam still here? Are you
Yeah,
the
I'm
host? Okay. Would you check out the Poncha Springs for November 8th?
For when?
For November 8th for year in review?
I can.
Okay.
All right. Does anybody have any other comments on item D?
Yeah, I just had one question. Do we have a special events chair? I mean, Larry Payne did camping trips for several years. And I don't know, I'm not good with Google Drive. I haven't been on that for a long time to see what the committee chairs and all that are. So I don't know if we have that.
Yeah. So let me think. I believe Brian is the special events special events chair. But we had a special events committee meeting and Larry was part of that. He's still on the committee, but just not the chair. And we talked about camping trips, and his feeling on that was that it's so hard to get spaces like camping, like to reserve. There aren't very many group spots that are nearby to rivers, and getting enough spaces now is so hard with just the competition for camping sites, that trying to organize one for the chapter is pretty tough, because you're just not going to be able to get everybody in. So trying to do that more on a freelance basis among members is probably the way to go. That was Larry's thinking on that, was that it had become too hard to organize and really get camping sites together.
Okay,
I think that we should have something at FibArc, but I've heard from several people that we just sit there, the people just sit there and everybody just walks by you and ignores you. And so I'm deferring to the experience of the group there. So, so anyway, that's,
Chris, I
Yep.
have been one to have sat at those booths on several occasions. And perhaps we need to add something besides a brochure, or, and do a little kid activity as part of the booth, or have, be able to do some fly casting or something like that to add a feature to those booths. Then I'd be willing to try it again. But yeah, I mean, I've sat at several of those and people say hi. That's about it.
yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's a cost benefit. I've done that with you too. I don't think the FibArc crowd is the crowd that we would get, and I think that's not worth your energy personally. But,
Okay.
and it's getting people to do it.
Right.
Chris, with the TU sponsorship at the forum, there's gonna be plenty of room for tables. And it's included in the cost of, we already paid for the sponsorship. It doesn't have to be attended either. If we had stuff to just put out on a table, backdrop or whatever, but it's a big hallway. So if you want to do something like that, whoever is going to attend for TU can bring the stuff down there, set up a table, and it'd be painless.
Okay, cool.
This is the watershed forum.
It's the water forum, water basin, Arkansas River Basin Water Forum.
We're going to talk about
April.
that in just a sec. Yep. Okay, so okay, to move on to item E for everybody. So this is I talked with Dominique from Garna about the chapter getting involved with the Headwaters Institute again. And the Headwaters Institute is basically a one-day class that's for rookie river guides. It's also available to the public. I went last year, had a great time. There are a bunch of different breakout sessions. Bob is there, talks about Aroa, and
VFMP.
yeah. So it's June 9th. It's pretty much all day. Talking to Dominique briefly about it, they had last year a breakout. One of the breakout sessions was on macroinvertebrates, and so she's asked us to kind of take that one over, and we talked about maybe sort of making it more general stream ecology, but that's mostly macroinvertebrates, talking about them, but also talking potentially about etiquette, raft angler etiquette, both with floating anglers and with wading anglers, and just how river guides can be better about that. Brian Ward had mentioned that he'd be willing to help out with that. I'm willing to help out. If there's anybody else that wants to come and help out, we'd love to help. Grabbing bugs, talking about it. But so that's again June 9th, if anybody is available and willing to help there.
Okay.
Karen?
Bobby, correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't been there in quite a while, and I don't know how long the breakout sessions are. I would say macroinvertebrates, I don't think would be a good thing for these people. I would say stream etiquette would be a really good thing.
Mhm.
I don't know.
And it's
In the past, I think the last person was Eric Heltzel, did a session, and you're really close to the river by the band shell there in Salida. And it was able to seine whatever, some bugs pretty quick. And at that time of the year, you're getting stone flies and some mayflies and caddis larvae. Probably those three things pop up pretty quick. So it is a pretty quick thing. He actually would get those, put them in some water and talk about them. He didn't spend a whole lot of time with the group kicking around in the river. He actually went and got those things set up and just talked
Okay.
about them. So I think you can do both. And I think the etiquette piece is important. It's definitely, the commercial guides or outfitters are going to talk to their guides about this etiquette, but actually talking about it again is not a bad thing.
I still
These
have
are-
business cards with river etiquette that I made up for stores years ago.
Yeah,
That we can revisit and give to people,
yeah.
that the fly shops could have as well.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. We should look at trying to get that done by June to pass out to the guides. Right, again, so if anybody is interested in helping out with that, let me know. And we'll kind of refine our curriculum for our breakout session along with Dominique as we get closer to that.
Chris, would you like to put the agenda back up?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, thank you. I can't see what's being shared, so.
No problem.
Okay, so we're through item E, item F. Let me get back to my notes here.
Yes,
So item F, we've got the watershed meeting that Bob was just telling us about, which is April 25th and 26th in Colorado Springs. We did a sponsorship, which includes one attendee. So if anybody is interested in attending, it sounds like it's a pretty amazing program. Bob, do you want to tell us real quick kind of about what's happening there?
Yeah, we're in the, I guess, final stages of the program. Actually, Gene Van Pelt, our program manager, just put up the website information on our website. The conference, Arkansas River Basin Water Forum, is on our website right now. The registration is open for other attendees. And I don't know if TU wants to do what Aroa does, the outfitters, but the outfitters, with our $5,000 sponsorship, we get 5, but we also will pay for anybody else that wants to go. So I don't know if TU is interested in sending other people that would be interested. I don't know. It seems like last year we had 2 people go and they split the days or something went on last year with TU. But just to let you know, that's how some other organizations work it. They will pay for other folks. So I don't know if you want to discuss that or not, but yeah, you do get one free with
Bob,
500.
How much is
Yes.
one ticket?
I'm looking at our website right now. Where is it on the website?
On the arbwf.org. Should say
Oh, I
forum.
thought you meant our chapter website.
No, it's not on the chapter site. It's on the forums website.
Oh, okay.
When I say our, because I chair that group, I call it our. Sorry.
Okay. What I would be interested in attending if anyone else wants to share that with me, that's fine. But I guess, Bob, could you send me the link like right now by email?
I could,
Are you able
let
to?
me see if I could put it in the chat.
Anyway, if you could, I'd like to look at it. I'm not familiar with it, but I'm very interested in attending.
Where is it
Bob,
this year, Bobby? In the Springs?
It's in the Doubletree
Okay, the Springs.
in Colorado Springs. It used to be the Red Lion many years ago, kind of close to the highway. When you come down from like the Broadmoor area, lake coming down to the highway. It's a beautiful facility. It's been remodeled and it was not easy finding a venue there. And it's costing us way more money than any other place we go. But we decided to go for it. And it's a great, great venue and it's a great program coming up here.
Okay. Again, what's the name of it, Bob?
The
I see-
Arkansas
I see.
River Basin Water Forum,
Okay,
27th annual.
all right.
The website is in the chat.
Well, you keep that in
much
mind,
is-
Chris, if
Yeah.
if I need to talk to you further about that, of course.
Okay. Yeah, Bob, do you know how much it is for just an individual to go?
Oh, geez, 300.
Okay.
That's for 2 days.
Okay. So Jim, if you go to that, we would like you to take good notes and make a presentation to the board about what you learned there. If that's all right with you, if we give you homework,
Oh,
So
no
we can
way,
all-
man.
so we could all benefit from it. All
Absolutely.
right.
No problem, but I could talk to you or Bob some more about that, and
Sure.
thank you.
The other thing there is that we have one ticket left for the CTU Gala on March 9th in Denver. So Jerry Wright is going with his wife, and then Pam, I can't remember who the other 2 tickets went to.
Jim McGannon and his,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
great.
His wife,
Okay.
so,
So we have one ticket left. We bought 5. So there's one ticket available there. If anybody's interested in that. And that's March 9th at Mile High Station in Denver. That's a great event if you've never been to it. It's a cool gala. Huge silent auction of fantastic stuff there as well. So
yeah, so
Uh,
if you're interested, please let me know ASAP so I can pass along the names of our attendees to CTU.
and no charge for tickets this year. If you would like to reimburse the chapter for your ticket, we would be grateful for that, but that's not a requirement this year. So okay, so then moving on. The CTU board meeting, I sent out notes earlier today about that, and kind of just go over just a couple of real quick highlights there. Let's see here. Let me share this real quick.
So Chris, are you meeting with the TU board by Zoom also?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So they usually have 2 a year. One board meeting is the last day of the rendezvous in the fall, and then there's a spring one, which was by Zoom. Because yeah, it's from all over the state. So it was a Zoom meeting at the end of last month. So just I'll shoot this real quick. If you guys want more details, you can read through this or ask me questions. CTU is $50,000 short on their fundraising goals for last year, and then they kind of went through a bunch of reasons why they thought that was. Then Silver Trout was basically a fund that was set up back during the Two Forks fight, and I guess it was split off just for legal reasons, but ever since then it's just kind of been sitting there, and they've had to do tax reporting on it every year, and it's more trouble than it's worth. So they basically are bringing it into CTU as an endowment. So it's just a little thing that happened. We adopted a whistleblower and a conflict of interest policy, and that's basically to be in line with National Trout Unlimited's policies. And those apply to CTU employees or everything. We might look at that. I didn't see anything in there. I looked at that in relation to our board member child scholarship questions, and there's nothing in there that that would say that's not okay, other than the member would want to recuse themselves from any votes, when that's kind of what we had talked about doing, and if that ever came up. So what we had talked about as far as that goes is in line with these policies, and I can send those to you if you want to read them. Barb Sheedlow kind of gave her review, and that's basically is in the report that that we got earlier today. That was basically her report on the legislative actions. And Jim, if you want to talk about that in a minute, you're welcome to. Natalie Flowers talked about the youth programs. Trout in the Classroom is exploding. Conservation Camp is going to be even more competitive this year. So if we want to reach out and try to get people from our valley to apply to that. We need to do that. And we would also need to talk about if we're going to sponsor them or not. So that's a conversation we would need to have. Let's
So
see.
Chris, on that,
Yeah.
do you want me to start sending out that poster and information? And are we going to do 1 or 2 scholarships as we have in the past?
Do we have that in our budget?
Usually we do, don't we, Pam?
Usually we do, and that will be part of the new budget. It's typically a carryover item from year to year because we're
Okay.
real
Yeah.
successful in finding anxious folks to go.
So yes, Karen, if you want to do that, that would be fantastic. I'm all for
And
doing
then
that. As long as we-
Barb asked if we would sponsor kids from other areas if we don't have kids.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. Does anybody have a problem with generally just having that money available? There's again, there's 20 spaces. It's very competitive. So, but there are also kids from other areas that can't necessarily afford it. So, do we as a chapter want to make that money available to kids from other places?
I think that would be a good idea. We could get more underserved minority kids
Yeah.
to participate. I think that's something that National is focused on, and we could be.
They really want females
Yeah, okay.
and
they're
people of
minority.
color.
All right. Well, should we put that to a vote? Do we want to talk about that a little bit more? That wasn't a vote that I had on here, but I'm not opposed to doing it if everybody feels good about it.
I don't think it's something we need to vote on. I think we can discuss, just discuss the amount that we want to put in the budget for it. That'll be a recommendation from Karen, I guess, in her committee.
Pam, it should already be in the budget if our budget goes through June 30th, because it's in June.
Okay, it'll be going next year's budget because our budget current budget ends the end of March.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so if we don't get any applicants, then we can discuss it further about how we'd like to spend those budgeted funds. I don't think it's something we need to do now.
Barbara, need to know that.
Well, the only reason we have to decide now is because on the poster, it says the chapter will sponsor a
Oh,
student. They pay $50 up front, and then if they're accepted, we pay for them. And we've done up to 2 students, and I think it's $500 or $600 per student. I can't.
Chris, can you expand your screen to full screen so you can take that banner off the top? Can't see your full document.
Can try. Let's see. Does that do it?
Unless you're scrolling down, I guess it doesn't matter, but that's okay.
Let's see here.
I can't.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to expand the share and not have the banners on my without reconfiguring my word program, which I don't really want to do.
That's okay. Don't worry about it.
So-
I don't want to hold you up on that.
And
Okay.
just scroll.
Yeah. So yeah, we're talking about down here, conservation camp.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
So back up.
well, Karen, you've worked that program for quite a while. Have we funded applicants that were not coming from our area in the past?
I think maybe 1 year we didn't have applicants from here. There, but
Well, I'm
we
in
can wait on
support
that.
of
We
it.
need to get through
Yeah.
this because I need to leave.
Right. So Nancy didn't have a lot to say about conservation other than she's working on stuff. Same with Cade. CTU is working on hiring a dedicated diversity and inclusion staff person. So The two things that were big to me to share with you guys is Trout Fest is going on again at Coors Field. It's going to be July 8th. So it's going to be sort of like a fly fishing expo kind of thing, with casting pools and vendors and so on. They're going to show the film festival on the Jumbotron. So that's going to be a cool event, July 8th, if you're interested in that. And then National TU is there's a regional Trout Unlimited meeting, the Taos, 18th to 23rd. I'm thinking strongly about going to that if anybody else is interested in going. I think it's what was it? It's like, I think it's $200 per person for the event, and then lodging on top of that. The other thing was that National TU, they're going through major restructuring of their staff and stuff, and they're growing their staff quite a bit. And then there's a lot of federal funding, especially coming through the Forest Service in the next few years, that will be working on strategies to get some of to do projects. So that's kind of it. So keep in mind the Trout Fest, and then if anybody's interested in going to Taos, let me know, because I'm thinking strongly about going. So go back to our agenda. Can you guys see the agenda again?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see my notes. So let's see, that was G. So H, update on the ELC Monarch Park fishing pier and fence ladders. So the ELC, Keith and I have been talking with a lot of different people about that. I'm working on grant applications for both of those projects. For the ELC, working on a grant application to get funding for concept design for the entire 1.2 miles from the confluence up to County Road 107. And so the idea there is to have a coherent design for a functional riparian corridor there, and we can implement those designs property by property as we're able to get funding for that. So we had a good meeting with Anna Hendricks from Southwest Conservation Corps, and she is still all in on doing that. They're working on getting funding to rebuild the barn that we could use for our ELC classes. So, and then that's probably the first property that we'll implement river work on. And then Jody Snyder is downstream of the Vanderveer property. They're also very interested in doing work on their property. We have a meeting tomorrow morning with the city planners, with Bill Almquist and Diesel and other people. It's us and Central Colorado Conservancy that are meeting with them just to give them our vision and try to talk to them about what we'd like to see and how we want to work with them. So we've got that meeting tomorrow morning, which is great to be able to get kind of an exclusive meeting with them as part of this planning process. So a lot of stuff sort of in the works, but nothing super concrete to report right now. The Fooses Dam is getting torn out. I think you guys knew that. So we're losing the ADA fishing pier at Fooses Reservoir. And so the one at Monarch Park is primarily to replace that, so we don't lose that ADA fishing pier. I'm working on a Fishing is Fun grant application for that, along with Jason Willis and Nancy and people from CPW and CDOT and the Forest Service. We're all working on getting that grant together and in by the end of the month when it's due. Both of those grants are due at the end of this month, so I'm working hard on those right now. And that's
Chris?
up at, yeah.
I just wanted to make a little correction. Fooses Dam is now scheduled to be taken down in 2024. The
Okay.
first one will be the one upriver of that.
Okay.
I can't remember the name.
Okay. Okay.
It's just sequencing now that keeps evolving.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Good to know. So still the planning is to replace that that accessible fishing resource.
Right.
So that's good to know, though, because we may or may not be able to get the one at Monarch built this summer. Hopefully we can, but we may not be able to. So that's good to know that we won't lose that access if we don't make it this year. And then, so the plan for that, we need to provide matching funds for that. And so we've got the CD that's in the High Country Bank that's going to mature in March. That's approximately $7,500. And that is going to be part of the matching funds that goes to that Fishing is Fun grant. National Trout Unlimited is kicking in some money as well. And then we're going to use a whole bunch of in-kind stuff that's some of the other, like the dredging work that CPW and CDOT are doing. And it will go towards in-kind matching funds for that Fishing is Fun grant. So, and we had talked previously and voted by email about using that CD money for this.
Chris,
Um,
what is the value of that Fishing is Fun grant? How much
We're
is
asking,
it?
we're asking for 100,000, and that's for design and construction of the ADA fishing pier.
When will the decision on that Fishing is Fun grant come?
So the application deadline is March 1st. The decision on it is usually it's April, May. It's a little vague, but typically it's by mid-May. We'll know for sure. Generally speaking, there's a approximately 12-month lag time while they review plans and everything before we can get a notice to proceed, which is when they actually fund us. So that would be that we wouldn't be able to really start construction until 2024. But most of that time is dedicated to like NEPA and Corps of Engineers approvals and everything. And we've already have that for this project. We're just adding on to an existing project. So we're hopeful that we'll be able to get the notice to proceed this summer. And because the rest of that project is happening in like August, September. So we're hopeful that we'll be able to do the fishing pier construction at the end of that. So have it built this summer as well. But that's where we're not certain. We're trying to get word back from the Fishing is Fun people about if we can how much we can shorten that window. So but in the perfect world, we'll know in May if it's approved, and then we'll be able to go to construction in like September. So any other questions on those? Okay. So then the last thing to talk about, there was fence ladders that Pam and I met with Will Talaferro from the Headwaters Rec area. And we're going to install one of our fence ladders up at near Otero Pump Station. There's a existing access, but it's just kind of a break in the fence. So we're going to put one in there. We've got a tentative date there of March 29th. And we think that'll be just like a half day work for just a few people. I mean, you guys have put these things in before, you know better than I, but it's pretty simple thanks to Keith's design. So that will be putting out here shortly, some more information and asking people for to come and help out. So that definitely, Jim, for example, that's one I think we'll send out to the larger membership and invite other people to come and help besides the board. Then we've got another potential site down at Parkdale. There's a spot there that's about a half-mile hike in. There's an existing fence ladder there that was put in 2009 that I think is okay. I think it's stable, it's steep, but I went down there this last weekend and hiked it, and I think it just needs a little bit of TLC and maybe a couple of treads replaced, and I think it's okay. But we were potentially looking at that as a multi-chapter trail work. The trail needs some help, so potentially doing some trail work there sometime in June. But again, that's one that we need to do a little more planning on. But working with the Colorado Springs and the Pueblo chapter are the ones that installed fence ladder that's there now. So, and then some of the other CPW staff, I guess, had talked with Will about some other potential sites that they saw that they thought needed ladders. So Will was going to reach out and try to get those sites, and hopefully we can get those ladders that you guys built a few years ago and get them all installed somewhere. So that's all in the works. So
I need to leave, but Pam, would you just
Okay.
take any notes on the last reports or anything and then send them to me tomorrow and I'll put it all together?
Sure, sure.
Sorry, you guys. Thank you.
yep. Thanks, Karen.
Hi,
Take care.
Karen.
So let's see. So any questions or comments there? Hearing none.
That's a lot for you, Chris. Thanks.
Sure, keeps me busy.
You need some help.
I'm trying not to do it all myself, but I'm just jumping in and hitting stuff. So I'll reach out as needed. So okay,
Chris,
so
when you're talking about Parkdale, are you talking about going on that little road that goes to the south entrance to the gorge, turning at the Royal Gorge rafting location
yeah,
there?
yeah, exactly.
That little parking lot and it goes down
Yep.
into the Royal Gorge entrance?
Yep,
Is that
yep.
the one?
It's
Okay.
yeah. Let me see if I can share here.
I know where that is. I think others
Okay,
might.
yeah, it's like Road 3, so it's right next to the Royal Gorge rafting and the yurts and stuff. Yeah, you go in
Sure.
there. It's about a half a mile hike in. You go. The first part is just kind of flat ground through chollos and sage and stuff, and then you go through a little ravine, and then it's basically it's a wash that goes down, and there's about it's probably a good half mile of river you can access there. That looks pretty interesting. There's a couple of riffles and some big
Mhm.
long runs, and so it definitely it looks fishable. There was too much ice. I took a rod down there with me on Saturday. There's too much ice, thin ice to get out there. I didn't wear waders, so I didn't want to do too much, but it looked pretty fishable. So I think it's worth doing the work on the trail down there.
Mhm.
So
A lot of poison ivy.
I didn't see any, but it's spring, it's winter, so
Yeah, you
I
won't
didn't.
see it. There's a
yeah.
lot.
That's good to know. Okay, so all right.
Okay.
Okay, so
Thanks.
moving on to reports. We pretty much had all of these reports sent out, so I think what we can do is just if anybody had questions or comments on any of them, we could field those now.
Chris, we need to back up to
Yeah.
4I. Discuss changing bylaws to allow online voting.
Yeah, so that was one, I think we can table that till next meeting, because I think that was something that Karen had put on the agenda, or on a different agenda that was on the Google Drive that I dropped on here this afternoon because I saw it. And I'm not sure exactly what it was, but I wanted to bring it up. But since Karen's not here now, I think we can table it. I didn't see anything in the bylaws that would not allow online voting. There's nothing specific about being in person, so I don't think it's anything that we need to worry about today.
Okay.
But I'll just move it on. I'll just table it till the next board meeting. So yeah.
Chris,
Yep.
I'd just like to mention something in addition to the Bull Moose report that was sent out.
Yeah, please.
Some folks have asked, what is Bull Moose? And Reed Dills and I are attending, well, these meetings, either one of us or both occasionally. And we do them by Zoom, but we're going to meet again next Monday. What Bull Moose is a policy and legislative group of members from several chapters around the state. And we discuss issues like that was sent out in that report that hopefully everyone will take a look at. There's a lot of very interesting stuff going on. And anyway, for example, I will be attending near the state capitol, a legislative session that the State Trout Unlimited is sponsoring on April 23rd. And if anyone has specific or particular interest in any of these legislative issues that have come up or are coming up, that'd be the time for me to have some discussion. We're gonna have an opportunity to interact with legislators. So I just wanted to let you know about that. But the Bull Moose name, by the way, came from, I don't know, a couple of years ago. I actually have it, a document on it. Maybe I should send it out sometime where the name came from. It was just thrown out there from a member, and I took it. It was a catch-all term. It has nothing to do with moose. Anyway, it's just our policy group. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, those guys do tremendous amount of work, lobbying and working with legislators. It's impressive. Reed and Jim and Barb Sheedlow, and so yeah, thank you guys for doing that. That's hard work. Let's see. One thing that I wanted to mention, for youth education, Keith sent out the calendar of events we've got coming up this summer, in partnership with Garna, and it's a great slate of stuff. It's a lot of events. So if anybody is able to volunteer for those, we definitely need help with those events. They're a lot of fun, both Stream Explorers as middle school kids. We're doing elementary school field trips, everything at high school stuff. So all kinds of things. It's really rewarding. It's a lot of fun, but we definitely could use some help for those. So take a look at that calendar, please, and see if and when you can, if you're able to help at all. Let's see. We kind of went over adult education stuff already, and special events. Veterans Committee, Gene sent out the notice. We've got 2 events this year. Gene, are we cool with mentors? Do we need to think about getting people? I got an email today that they're doing a mentor training on the 25th of March in Colorado Springs. So
Well, we're good to go for the 2 events. We have
Okay.
enough mentors.
Okay.
I am planning to put out a request for new mentors, and I already have one person who volunteered. So
Okay.
we're one ahead, maybe.
So you're on top of things as usual. So
Yeah, we're okay.
okay, cool. What about flies? We've got a whole bunch of flies at I'm not sure how many at upriver that they've been collecting in their fly tying nights. So do we need to send out a notice on that to members to try to get more people to volunteer to tie flies and give them to us? or-
Well, Dave and Brian were gonna head that one up. So
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
we could certainly use any flies that volunteers want to donate. My friend and guide Larry Fredericks, who he donated a bunch in BV, he donated some to me as well. So we have a bunch of hopper patterns. I was planning on tying several dozen for some nymphs, and have reached out to a few other people to get some donations.
Okay, so we're probably in pretty good shape there.
Yeah,
Sounds
but
like.
again, I mean, the more the better that anyone wants to donate.
Yeah. So I guess, do we want to ask Tom Palka to send out an email blast about it? Just to the general membership?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
We can give the specifics of, which patterns or types of patterns.
Okay. Do you mind getting in touch with Tom and
Sure.
figuring that out? Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Chris,
Yep.
if Pam's taking notes, I think I said legislative session April 23rd. If I did, I meant February 23rd. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, I'll correct that.
Okay. Well, that's the agenda. Does anybody else have anything else they want to add, or any questions that
Yeah.
came up?
I'd like to say a few things, unless Mark wants to say something about fundraising. He's really the chair, but the first thing I want to say is that I received a check from Blue Triton yesterday, which I turned over to Pam this morning. So unless she made a down payment on a new car, we should have $5,000 in our checking account courtesy of Blue Triton. So that's one thing. The other is, I've talked to Mark a little bit about this, but I'm going ahead with our best fundraising effort of the last 3 years and repeat the Caddis Festival raffle, online raffle. It's going to be around Mother's Day, so that's the middle of May. And idea is taking what we know out of the most successful raffle. I'm just doing float fishing trips. So far, I've got Arc Anglers, Build a Boar's Yacht, and Spinnerfall out of Dutch John signed up, ready to provide those float trips. I'm going to hit Next Eddy and probably Gunnison River Guides, who did it like 3 years ago. So we'll have 5 float trips, only float trips. So there won't be anybody disappointed that they want a archery set. They'll all know that they're getting a float trip. I expect it's going to go real well. We need to use CTU's advice and help so we don't get bogged down like we did in 2020. But it's a statewide raffle. You need not be present to win. Probably structured similar to the one in 2020, which I think we met at about 12,000. So this year, I think maybe 15 would be a good goal.
Keith, how many trips are you trying to target? I mean, 6, 8?
4 to 6. I think I can probably get 5 and I'll be happy with that. Upriver's already donating a trip, or I'd ask them again, to donate to that, but that's double dipping. So, yeah, if I get 5, I'll be happy. That'll give, 5 different chances to win.
Great. I was going to talk with Andrew from Upriver and see if he wanted to make the trip that they've agreed to donate part of that raffle, since it goes statewide, or keep it as kind of the grand prize at the film festival, and just sort of give him the choice of what he wanted to do. So I'm going to see those.
Well,
guys
that's a good idea. I think I could get
Yeah.
enough to make it work, but yeah, the
Right.
more the better.
Just give him the opportunity to be part of that that online raffle if he wants to, just to make sure he doesn't feel left out of that for some reason, or whatever. We'll just let him decide which raffle he wants it to be part of, and then I'll let you know. But I'll see him next week, so I'll let you know about that.
Mark,
And you've been talking with Jerry about this, I know. So
right. Mark, have you had a chance to get with the CTU? I don't know. Chris, did you give Mark contacts, and has it been followed up?
yeah, I emailed Whitney and copied Mark on it, and I haven't heard anything back. Have you, Mark?
No, it
Okay.
hasn't been a response.
I'll bug her, and I'll bug Kyle too. He's like the
Well,
communications
we're
guy.
still
So
early in the process, but I know
Yeah.
Jerry says you have to have everything
Yeah.
completed and finished 2 weeks prior to May 15th.
Yeah, the only thing with fundraising, just real quick, I know we're running late, but so we talked about the film festival, we talked about this raffle. Grants, especially this one potential big one. And Keith and I will be getting together this month to come up to prioritize, get a list of businesses to target for donations. So we're kind of going through the list of who's donated in the past and try to come up with a high priority list to go after. Oh, and then last one, the city markets rewards. I think, Pam, you're going to put something in a newsletter. I don't know exactly how this works, but it sounds like we could accumulate more money and check with Safeway, and just make it. I'm not even very familiar with it except the concept, but make that more widely known so members and others potentially could, so we could who when they
Right.
grocery shopping.
Right, that,
an easy
Mark,
process.
that's still on my to-do list, so I hope to have something to put together for the March newsletter that talks about Amazon Smile going away.
Right.
And also I did stop in at Safeway when I was down there recently about their community rewards program. And they are discontinuing that as well. So that's not an opportunity for us to do some passive fundraiser there. So City Market is still our best program. So I haven't forgotten, I just haven't put it together yet, but it'll be something in either the March newsletter or a special blast about passive fundraising.
Okay, yeah, and I was just given a high level overview of kind of the plan for the year by category for fundraising.
Anybody else have anything to add? All right, seeing nothing, then I think we can go ahead and adjourn.
Did you want an update on VFMP or did we go too late?
Yeah, we're too late, Bob.
Okay,
No, I'm just kidding.
there's no water, forget it. The fish are all going to Pueblo.
Of course, we want to hear from you.
Yeah,
Okay, real quick, we have monthly meetings and we just started just this week. And what I do is we meet with the Bureau of Reclamation and the water entities, Colorado Springs, Pueblo, and CPW folks. And we kind of hear what their projections are and what the snowpack's looking like. And the snowpack is looking pretty good in the import area where water gets pumped into the Arkansas to the upper basin reservoirs. And their initial projections are for 59,000 acre feet, which is a good number for, hopefully that plays out for the whole spring here. But 59,000 is a great target. And what it does is it allows us to potentially have up to that 10,000 or at least the 10,000 acre feet that we use for the flow program, for the boating component, which is July 1st to August 15th. And also from the fishing end of things, it looks like they can kind of still do with what they like to do. They're still very cognizant of what we want for the fishery, and that is to keep flows low for the brown trout emergence timeframe. And they look like they can do that as well. Right now, there is some project water, is about 78 CFS in the river that is being moved to evacuate and make room for that import water. And so things look pretty good for the summer season. Pueblo, which has been a great partner of ours to help move water at optimum times, is again talking about maybe 2,000 to 3,000 acre feet to help supplement if it's needed. If we run out of the VFMP water, that they would move in that VFMP timeframe. And so that's really helpful that the partners are really stepping up. And so things are looking pretty good. The thing that we always have to combat around here on the Arkansas Basin is the flow or the SNOTEL sites that produce what the percent of average is for the snow water equivalent. The average is only like in the 80s when you take into consideration the Sangre de Cristos. And that is very important to the southeastern farmers. But for the section of the river that we both float and we fish mostly right above Pueblo Reservoir, it doesn't really affect us, but it drags down those percentages. And because the upper basin, looking at Monarch and St. Elmo and Fremont Pass, Independence Pass, all those upper areas are really pretty decent and probably just a little bit over 100% of normal. So things are looking pretty good right now.
Hey, Bob, the volunteer
Yes.
flow management program, that's
Yes.
okay. That Chris and others, I would suggest that do we have this on our website already, Bob? This description of what this is?
What the VFMP is, I don't know.
Okay, and I'm bringing this up because it was about last August. I sent this to Ryan Bouton, is it?
Ryan Boughton.
Boughton?
Ryan Boughton, who wrote it, he wrote his PhD paper on this.
Yeah, he sent me like
Yeah,
a 5-page commentary on what, I asked him what this meant, because I saw his PowerPoint presentation somewhere in all this stuff we have. And man, did he send me a beautiful description of what this was and why it came. What I asked him was, how is it this is volunteer and how does it work if it's volunteer? And wow, did he describe this in detail. So if that's if we can put that on our website to explain what this volunteer management program is for maintaining the flows in the river, it's really critical, I think, for our operation and for our chapter to understand this and to help support it.
yeah.
So
It's-
I'd like to suggest that because this is amazing.
That's a good, yeah, Brian followed me around for about a year at different meetings and a lot of conversations. And there have been some other students that have done papers on this. I helped another student do one for Colorado Mountain, or actually Colorado Mines. He did a master's thesis
But
on.
where did he do his PhD? Is he a professor?
Well, he's not teaching, no, he's trying to work in the field, and I'm not sure he's even working. I haven't seen him in a few months.
Okay.
But I think
Well,
you're
that's
right.
o-
It's a good paper. And I don't know if you guys know, especially you guys that are new to this board, but Reed Dills was very instrumental in making this happen. I don't know if you guys know that. But Reed was definitely one of the architects to try to figure this out and how this could actually work. So
Well, it's
Reed is
brilliant.
very, very knowledgeable of this because he was there from the very, very beginning.
Bob, what is the name of this group that's meeting monthly?
Well, it's not a name of a group, but we're meeting about the voluntary flow management plan.
Oh, okay, okay.
The group doesn't really have a name because we all represent different entities, different water systems, municipal systems, and the bureau
Okay.
that manages the reservoir. Yeah,
Okay, that's fine.
yep.
Great. So Jim, if you've got something there that that you think we would be able to share on our website, then I'd be happy to talk with Tom about adding it to our website.
What Jim has.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, if it's
Did
something
you ask
that
that of
we, if,
Bob?
well, no, of you, because you said you're the one that got it, but if we can get
Well-
permission to use it potentially, that'd be
oh
great.
yeah, Ryan's all about it. I mean,
Okay.
he's very,
Bob, you probably have this already on a digital copy, right?
I don't have it. I don't, well, I'll have to look. I don't know that I
Well,
do, not
okay,
what you're
just let me,
referring to.
I don't want to take up too much time on it. I thought I'd mention it because it's a nice supplement to what you're talking about. And if you can't find it, let me know and I'll scan
Okay.
it and get it to you. This is good stuff. Thanks.
Okay, you bet.
All right. Anybody else have anything they want to add or questions or comments? All right, then I think we can go ahead and adjourn. Well, thank you, everybody, for your time again. We shaved about a half hour off the last time, so that's good. Goals.
Thanks, Chris.
So, yeah,
Thanks,
thanks,
Chris.
everybody. Have a great night.
Yeah,
Good
take
job,
care.
Chris.
Good night.
Uh,
Good night, everyone.